Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Remember 11, The Age of Infinity. But I'm not sure what situation we're in, whether we're in a good situation, whether we're in a bad situation, whether we neutral, I don't know. So, let's keep on. Let I scream. Yomugi was there in front of me. Huh? What happened? The one that was chasing after me was Yomugi? Or was he SPHIA? Yomugi stared at me wordlessly as he spoke. I see, so a personality exchange occurred. I'm sitting on a wooden bed. This is a SPHIA. This is the shelter cabin. Yet, whether because the flame in the stove was too small or something else, I was freezing cold. It was freezing cold. My breath was so wide it felt like it might turn into ice any moment. I'm wrapped up to my shoulders in my blanket. My heart continued to hammer like an alarm bell. Because my mind suddenly transferred while I was in the crisis, my body may still be reacting to it. I nodded to Yomugi and returned to my own bed. After covering myself with my blanket, I closed my eyes. Really, I wasn't alright at all. I wanted to shout out loud for someone to save me. Fear of hunger and freezing to death. I'm slowly dying here at the shelter cabin, and at SPHIA, the hand of the murderous monster draws ever nearer. Being exposed to a never-ending succession of different terrors, my spirit is shattered. My heart didn't have time to calm down. I muttered through shivering lips. But now wasn't the time to be whining. While being chased by someone with a knife, my personality transferred to the shelter cabin. Right now, Satoru's personality should be inside his body, which meant he suddenly transferred into his body while still being pursued by that person. It was incredibly uneasy. I felt guilty escaping to the shelter cabin as Satoru was being assaulted. Joining my hands together, I muttered as if praying. I heard Mayuzumi shouting. The bed began to creak. Mayuzumi was trembling. Yomugi opened his mouth to complain, but only a sigh emerged. Yomugi stood up from his bed and approached the stove. He started throwing in the piled up firewood into the stove. Soon after, the fire grew larger and the air became warmer. Even though he said that, he was trembling as well. He held his hands over the stove. Even as such an experienced mountaineer, Yomugi found the cold in the shelter cabin unbearable. His decision to build up the fire may have been based in his judgment that we'd all end up dying from the cold if things continued as they were. I started thinking to myself while blowing on my frozen finger with white breath. If all the firewood disappears at this rate, how cold will it get? Couldn't even imagine. Satoru said that he was at ease here. However, with this, there probably isn't any comfortable ground left for him. Because with each passing moment, this place is further transfigured into a freezing hell. However, SPHIA was also hell in another sense. I took out the VR with a shaking hand. My other hand clumsily hit the playback switch. The message began to play. Okay. I guess technically she was there longer at that time. So he would have had time to record. I guess it's the logic behind that, but it still is a bit fishy that this time there's a message left for her when before there was no message. So, yeah, it would have had to have been longer for. Yeah, it would have had to have been longer.
襲われた直後にここへ飛んできたんだ。頼む。どうか無事でいてくれ。くそ。 手出しできないのが歯がゆい。俺のために君の人格が死ぬなんてことがあったらどうやって詫びりゃいいんだよ。腕の一本ぐらいはなくなったっていい。だからどうか無事でいてくれ。
The tone of the message sounded almost as if he were throwing up blood. The murderous monster had begun attacking before I transferred. And then in the middle of the attack, Satoru and I exchanged personalities. That's why he was so impatient.
私は無事だったけど今度はサトルが心配だよ。
My wristwatch was, as I thought, in my pocket. I'd usually get angry right about now, but right now my wristwatch being taken off allowed me to be able to feel his existence. I'm positive that Satoru, who was inside me, had dumped back to... What? I'm positive that Satoru, who was inside me, had jumped back to SPHIA just as danger drew near. Kind of a strange sentence for this genre of visual novel. And not a strange sentence at all for other visual novels. I closed my eyes and clasped my hands together and desperately prayed while shivering from the cold. Blinked several times. You know, I was just thinking of something that's probably not important. Just probably maybe more of a narrative type thing rather than an actual story thing, but it does seem like they transfer a lot when they're trying to communicate with each other. While he's talking on the VR, while she's dealing with the VR, while she's writing the notes, and drawing the bunnies, that sort of thing. So, just something I realized, because the last time it happened like right away. She like pressed the VR and boop. Even after only being there for a very short time. So, just something I thought. I blinked several times. Understood immediately that I had transferred. The time period between the transfers was strangely short this time. Held my breath and looked around. This is the basement storeroom of SPHIA. Someone was after Satoru. The murderous monster may be hiding somewhere, targeting me at this very moment. And all of a sudden, a hellish scene appeared before my eyes. Who's that? I was speechless. I began to doubt my own eyes. In front of me was the corpse of someone I did not recognize. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Where did this dude come from? Was I right that there was somebody there the whole time? Like in the clock tower or something? That, you know, to me it said something about she didn't know how to get into it or whatever. Maybe Satoru knew how, or I don't know, something like that. Crimson blood was flowing out of the man's body. The blood had formed a pool and was spreading across the floor. All I could smell was a scent of rusted iron coming from the blood. Nausea rose in my throat. I covered my mouth to hold it back. I had thought that Satoru was about to die, but now some man I didn't know lay dead before me. What was happening? Just what is going on? Sensing someone's presence, I jumped and looked up. Hattori was standing stock still next to the corpse. Her clothes and her hands were covered in blood. The fresh blood on her body and her clothes was still wet. And in her hand was a knife dyed red. It can't be. An ominous premonition came to my mind. No, rather than a premonition, it was a conviction. Inibushi Keiko had awoken. She doesn't look angry. She doesn't look like she is angry. Murderous. Hmm. Then again, that's the thing with the DID though. It could be Keiko could have been like, ah, and then what? You know, like that. So who's this random guy? Maybe he was the guy who was trying to kill him. You know, that's actually what I was. Because I mean, all they said was there's hands. But then again, when she died in the bathroom, she said you. So I'm assuming that means she might know that she knows of the person. The personality of murderous monster within her has awoken. Did she kill this man in front of me? Does that mean she was the one after she saw True? Tori was staring at me blankly. I gulped as my breath caught in my throat. My knees trembled. Our eyes met. Her eyes were hollow and somehow frail. So, suddenly, Hattori blinked several times. She looked down at her body and the knife she was holding. Panicking, she threw the knife away. She looked at me again. This time, her eyes widened. Before my eyes, Hattori turned pale. She started to shake her head slowly at first, then gradually increasing in intensity. She took one step toward me. She extended a blood-soaked hand to me. Unable to take it, I took a step backward. Confused by what was happening, Hattori opened her mouth, but only a wheezing sound came from her throat. I trembled in fear. She continued shaking her head. Every time she took a step forward, I took one step backward. Hattori drew closer and closer. Blood dripped down from her extended hand. Her blood-stained hand looked like the tentacled limb of the devil coming to take my life. Before I realized that I was backed up into the corner of the room. My back hit a shelf. A wooden box on the shelf made a sound as abrupt as a gunshot as it fell. Heard a scream from close by. Hattori and I looked in the direction of the voice at the same time. Behind the shelf was the shadow of a small person. It was Uni. Covering his head with his arms and trembling, Uni suddenly slowly raised his eyes. His face was distorted with tears. His eyes were swollen and had turned a deep red. Why was Uni here? I was getting more and more confused. Well, it seems like Itsumi is the only one missing at the moment. I was totally blank as I simply stood bewildered at the incomprehensible situation before me. And he was terribly frightened. Once again, he lowered his head and covered it with his arms. He was muttering something in a small voice. Going to be murdered? By whom? I looked at Hattori. You've cleaned up very well, really quickly there. His eyes were gazing off somewhere far away. He continued to wheeze as he spoke. He continued murder? Yes, he continued to murder in a shaky voice between sobs. He's murdering with his voice, with his vocal cords, still. But it didn't seem like he was able to speak the way he wanted to. What? What did he say? Everyone is lying? Hattori didn't kill? And who lied that man? Who lied that man? Did I say that? Who lied that man? All of a sudden I recalled what Uni told me yesterday. Shelter cabin, apparently. Conversation with Uni that had taken place in the shelter cabin yesterday. Uni read my palm. Uni said that. Interesting. And I agree with that statement too. My throat was completely dry. It was painful to breathe. My heart was pounding furiously. What was the meaning of what Uni had told me then? A premonition? Or was it an advanced declaration of his crime? Upon arriving here, I realized that my doubts as to who Uni was had not yet been erased. I was Uni at both the shelter cabin and SPHIA. It's 2011 in the shelter cabin and 2012 at SPHIA, then what did this mean? The Uni of the year 2011 told me about something that would occur in the year 2012. It's not like that possibility was completely unthinkable. Why was Uni here? Why was he crying like this? Does Uni actually know everything about mine and Satoru's personality transfers? Was if being an innocent child that doesn't know anything was really just an act? What if the one lying was Uni? That can't be. For a child like him to have done that, it can't be. Really, she just now realizing that. You know, I was just thinking. Yes, I do. Someone who's an adult with the ID like Keiko has the personality of a child. What if, well, Uni actually has the ID and he has the personality of an adult. Of course, that would be very, very tough to pull off. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's a very reasonable thing to think. Because then again, the life experience, personality of an adult, you have to kind of experience it to be an adult. It's not like something you can imagine, you know what I mean? Then again, the brain is weird. The brain is a very strange thing. So, who knows? I don't know. There's definitely something weird about Uni. I've been saying that from very, very early on, that there's something very weird with the situation there. And she's just now beginning. I think there's something eerie about Uni, just a little bit. Despite all the calm reasoning I'd done, deep in my heart I had begun to think that, yeah, this child, just who is he? It can't be, but did he kill that man? Did he attack Satoru? Something answered me. I don't know what's going on anymore. She never knew what was going on. And Itsumi's still alive. Nobody's actually died. Well, except for that dude. But I don't know who that is. Heard a new voice coming from the stairs that were connected to the kitchen. Itsumi climbed down the stairs anxiously. Where had she been, and what had she been doing until now? Driven to a corner by distrust? I wondered that momentarily, when I was being chased by that someone before. Itsumi had been nowhere to be seen. Was she someone I could trust? Itsumi slowly looked around the room, not paying attention to my suspicious glare. And then surprised by the corpse. Continuing to look at the blood-covered Hattori, covering her lips slightly. She grinned and laughed. A natural thing to do. Dead person covered in blood. Very natural. I'm sure I saw it. I hadn't overlooked it. A chill ran down my spine. Why? Why was Itsumi laughing right now? Itsumi started talking in a cool voice. I couldn't understand why she was so calm. Was Satoru trying to talk her out of killing Keiko? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. She knows. She's known, I guess, who Keiko is. That's my feeling there. Sumi's eyes immediately locked onto Hattori, and Hattori noticed her gaze. She tore at her own hair with her blood-soaked hands. Her beautiful long hair became disordered and messy. The red blood soaked into her black hair. Sumi slowly shut her eyes halfway. I thought I saw a smile for a moment. Terrified I couldn't even raise my voice. It was as though Uni and I were not in Sumi's field of vision at all. Her gaze didn't move an inch from where Hattori was. What did she just say? I think it's pretty clear. What did Itsumi just say? No. This isn't the normal Itsumi. Can't believe anymore. I don't know anything. Everyone is lying. No crap. Yeah, she knows. Has a word. Said about Itsumi's words. Hattori started shrieking. She was having a fit. But did that mean the personality that was in control now was actually Hattori? Was it she and Ibushi Keiko? Breathing wildly, Hattori's gaze dropped to the floor. Itsumi was looking in the same direction. I followed their eyes. The knife. Oh crap. The blood-covered knife had fallen next to the body. Oh crap. All three of us had our sights fixed on the knife. I get a small degree of tension from the scene. Just a small smidgen. You know, like somebody may go for the knife and try to kill somebody. Yeah. The tension is real, folks. Wow. Yeah. I was just commenting that nobody had died yet of the main cast so far. You know, there's 8 of them, 4 in each place. There's 7 of them, 3 and 2 in one place, in each place. Yeah, Uni counts as 2. Yeah, actually. You know, Kokoro and Satoru kind of count as 1 in each place too, so if they're alternating. But this I feel like this could have some bad consequences. So we're gonna find out what happens in the next episode of Remember11, The Edge of Infinity. This is legitimately tense. So, cliffhanger alert. I do hope you folks enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one. Farewell there, folks.